As the program manager at Greenville Tech, we're working through SC Accelerate with redesigning the electrical certificate program and courses in the CNC program. The instructors are extremely knowledgeable about their subject matter, and of course their classes have typically been taught in class lecture lab format. So doing the redesign, we're turning some of these into completely online classes, like our codes class for the electrical certificate, and we're also doing some hybrid classes where the lecture part will be online and then students come in for their labs, particularly in the CNC courses. So the instructors know their subject matter very well inside out, and in both of these cases the instructors have been teaching for a very long time, but again in that traditional format. So having the templates available from CAVES for them to follow through from the outline process with the first template through the actual course content in the second template enabled them to rethink the process of how they're going to deliver those courses. And then having the ADA and the UDL requirements in there is helping make sure that they meet those requirements. And as a program manager, it helps me when I review those templates for everything to be consistent and in line and to know what I'm looking for, and then to get the feedback from the staff at Clemson Center for Workforce Development. Because just the templates alone, we're not going to get it on the first try every time, and so we need that feedback. You know, you missed this, or you might want to think about that. That's an invaluable piece of this for us to come back and rethink it and think about what we can do to make it better.
The templates created by the Clemson Workforce Development Center have been a lifesaver for us working with the DOL grants, because they help you do the UDL directly. You are not digging around trying to make certain you've met all the criteria, because as you go through the template, you're led through the criteria, so you ensure that you've met them. Without them, I would probably be pulling my hair out on a daily basis, and I don't want to be bald today.
After printing it out and using the instructor guide, myself and the class, we love this. It has good pictures, it has a good layout, good format to it. It's got tests and quizzes and some activities that you can do. Overall, good feedback from the kids. We're preparing to take the MSSC in the next 2 or 3 weeks, so hopefully when we do the safety part, we'll have a good pass-fail ratio. I'm excited about it, but overall we're very pleased with the program and hoping that it works out quite well. Thank you.
The templates that they provided for us were most helpful, as it provided us a roadmap to determine what the processes and requirements were, one, to succeed through the project, and to provide us a great tool to help with our faculty who didn't understand or know what the requirements were for UDL or ADA compliance requirements. And it helped us achieve not only completing the progress and projects on time, but delivering the courses, our pilot courses, and providing excellent feedback. The CAVES 2 project that designed the templates and everything that we used, we didn't have to edit anything or come up with any processes. They help us succeed in meeting our goals and objectives of the grant, and they also provided us an excellent foundation to collaborate with faculty on determining what the needs were and understanding the project forward.
One of our strategies is curriculum redesign, and that is so important to what we're trying to do for our target audience. The whole idea is to accelerate their education and get them back to work. The tools, the technology that Clemson University, together with this CAVES effort, brings us as a consortium is helping to accomplish that.
A lot of times measuring and during the diagnostic phase we determine where excessive clearances are. What he's doing is he's checking a cam bearing journal surface, and later we can make a measurement on the engine block behind him there. This would be building on what was learned the previous semester in AUT 159, where we initially introduced the students to the measuring instruments. They did paper activities, they had access to the virtual content on the CAVES side. That was a good semester, get them introduced to the tool and get them up to speed. This particular class, as you can see here, is an actual application of the tool. Now, if the student needed extra practice or remediation because it's been a while, they could always go back to that website, look at the material that was from CAVES metrology lessons, and bring themselves back up to speed.
A couple of years ago, I was asked to develop some classes for the South Carolina Assist to Work program. When I started developing these classes, I had an idea of what I was doing because over the past several years, I've been developing material, putting in our learning management system at Piedmont Technical College for my regular classes. However, under the direction of Dr. Jenny Hall, she was talking to me and explaining to me about how I needed to make my classes accessible by using the UDL curriculum standards, and also I needed to make the class, it had to follow the guidelines and the requirements for being a Creative Commons open class. Dr. Hall was able to give me some help by providing a CAVES curriculum, some templates for me to follow, and this helped a great deal in my development of these classes to take the material that I had and modify them into the new curriculum format. I've had a great time developing these classes. I hope to do more work in the future with Clemson University and with Dr. Hall in developing classes, and I'm definitely using what I've learned in future classes at Piedmont Technical College.
It was a challenge at the beginning just because of all the material that was actually contained in the resources with the CAVES book, but I adapted to it, and what it was able to enable me to do is to allow the students to read more on their own and basically go over more of the resources on their own, and it did not require me to lecture as long over particular areas. The formatting of the entire module layout, being 10 modules, was actually a good format to use with a 15-week course because I tied in about 4 exams throughout the semester, and it fit well with the breakdown of the modules.
Jason here is using the DMM to make some basic voltage, amperage, even some resistance measurements using the DMM. Now, this would fall under metrology because it is measuring. It's measuring electrical properties, voltage, amperage, resistance. So the tool itself is a measuring tool. This also ties into the module on fundamentals of electricity, what is volts, what is amperage, and ultimately we lead into how to measure those things. So it's been a while for some of these students, especially the ones that are getting near graduation, that's have maybe a basic electrical class. So having CAVES modules, having the virtual website where they can go and use the meters and interact with circuits, and being able to go back and to self-paced, reteach, remediate on some of these electrical fundamentals, basic usage of electrical meters is very beneficial.
My intake or my thought on the CAVES software was we wanted to integrate a system that was not complicated, really simple. So it allowed us to simply just add a link to the course curriculum design. Simple process, yet very valuable tool for the students. The feedback that we got from them was that it allowed them anytime learning through the lab. And what I mean by that was that the students were able to drill the process of machine tooling until they were able to, they felt mastery or able to master the lab process, and then actually bring that knowledge into the actual lab and then apply it within the lab environment. Another feedback that I got from students and faculty was the learning tool allowed them to, again, practice over time, replay some of those videos, or go into and actually do the actual measurement, and feel less embarrassed if they did not know how to do the measurement accurately. And then that allowed them to master the measurement tool prior to going into an actual lab environment with other classmates.